What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome back to episode number 91 of Lyon Live here in Football Manager 2019. Hopefully you guys are doing fantastic. Of course, I will say now, as I say a fair amount of times, if you missed last episode, do make sure to go check it out. I uploaded it over the weekend. It was a slightly unusual time. If you did miss it, you missed the games against PSG, you missed a club record transfer in terms of wages, and yeah, I mean, we all know who that player was now. We picked up Donnarumma, who is, let's be honest, one of the best goalkeepers you will see in Football Manager all year. I think his potential ability is over 190. He's nuts, is simply put the best way to describe him. At 23 years old, I'm going to be interested to see if he can make a huge difference for us, because to be honest, it's pretty rare to get a goalkeeper this good. And I want to see if we notice a difference when it comes to matches, if we do see some saves that you just wouldn't see anyone else save be stopped by this man. Of course, last episode I ended with a bit of a dilemma, and it was the potential sale of Tolisso. We signed him for £69 million last year. He really did underwhelm, and he is the second highest earner at the club behind Donnarumma, currently occupying a spot on the bench. He has recently turned 28 as well. I'm not 100% happy with the offer that Milan put in. We offered him out for 70. I'm going to try offering him out for 65 just because we've got so many big teams interested in him. I'm hoping there will be a nibble. And actually, speaking of a nibbler, we have Juventus. Milan have locked in a £51 million bid. That's just not enough money for me. Juventus, maybe Juventus will be more reasonable here. I offered him out for 65. That is what I want. Okay. I did not expect them to do that immediately. Okay, 65 million. I mean, it's very good money. I guess the dilemma becomes now, what would we do with that cash? Oh my gosh, I've got to think about things here. So, the centre mid department might be left a little bit bare now with that deal. Although we've got Renato Sanchez, I guess you can come in. How does Sanchez compare with Tolisso? I mean, they're on very different levels, I guess, but Sanchez isn't a bad player by any means. If we look at the report here, half a star difference if you want to look at it like that. Both best roles are box-to-box midfielders, which is absolutely fine. But neither of them, in my opinion, are as good as Ndombele. And I do feel like Tolisso, he's a little bit too good to just be a backup, you know, especially with the money that we're paying him. So actually cashing in that £60 million could be huge. As I mentioned, one of my only concerns now is that we don't really have a left back option. So I might need to look at that. I know someone in the comments mentioned the fact we do have Barreau here, who we could train to play left back just as a bit of coverage. He's already competent at it. My only real concern with playing a right-footed player at left back is that it's a right-footed player at left back. But of course, we're encountering a similar dilemma, I guess, when it comes to our wingers on the wings. I guess the thing to also consider is if we sell Tolisso here, we are going to be... How much are we going to be receiving? We're going to be getting a lot of money. £65 million. Oh wow, okay, that went through in a... Is it transfer deadline day in Italy, or did they just offer him really good money? Either way, Tolisso is leaving a day later. Wow, that is pretty good. You can see we're going to get about £50 million added on. We do have a sell-on percentage that goes to Tolisso, but still £50 million plus the wages that are being freed up. I feel like it makes a lot of sense. The only dilemma now is what do we do with that 50 million? I talked about it last episode, but I wouldn't mind getting in a left-back option. How do our wages look now? Our current spend is now 1.9 mil. I mean, does our team look significantly weaker for that transfer? I wouldn't necessarily say so. I feel like Renato Sanchez is a pretty adequate backup player. There is still a little bit of a concern in the striking department. Obviously, Taylor, Keane and Freitas all out injured. Which is, well, as I said, a little bit concerning. I'm just wondering if I wanted to loan out Auge anymore. I guess the logical thing here to do would actually be to promote Oliver to the senior side. Now, we picked him up on a free transfer, Oliver, with the mindset of, oh, we're going to loan him out and then maybe try and sell him on for some money. But actually, the more I look at things now, with all the latest stuff going on, it might be worth just keeping him as a backup player. He's valued at £28 million, which seems absolutely crazy. But no, he could be a pretty adequate backup now in the centre mid department. Obviously, he can play a few different positions, including striker, which with our current injury crisis might actually be something that we end up playing him in, because both him and Shadas are kind of our only 2 fit strikers outside of the likes of Gabels, Maulida and Havertz, who of course I want to play out on the wing. Got 8 days till the Nice game. The transfers just don't stop at the moment. Let's just have a look at the ins and outs for this year. We've sold £340 million worth of players. Of that, 3 of those players are first team players, but we've got massive sums of money for them in truth. £190 million received for them. And then on the ins, I feel like the signings that we've made have kind of covered up what we've lost in many ways. Donnarumma, Sunday, of course, joined us. I do really like Sunday actually on the right. And obviously Kai Havertz, who we are training to play out on the left. We're looking good in the midfield. People have mentioned the defence. I kind of agree that the defence might be the area of concern. I'm kind of curious what French players are out there, to be honest. Like, is there going to be anyone who's, good, who we could maybe look to sign? I might want to just set a maximum wage here, because we're kind of looking for a backup player at this point. I'm pretty happy with the first team, but a backup centre-back who's good would be kind of useful. Put wage at most 60,000 and just see what comes up. Is there anyone super exciting here? Mamadou Dembele of Salzburg. I mean, I'm not wowed. I'm not wowed is probably the fairest way to describe my feelings on that. I'll tell you what, let's up the minimum wages just to 80k. It's a little bit more than I would like, but you never know what might be shown up here. Obviously, we looked at Diallo last episode, who could potentially be brought in to help with our centre-back situation, although is there really a situation at centre-back? I know a lot of you guys have raised concerns. Niakate here. I don't know if that's how you say his name. Wow, he looks pretty good. He's massive. He's really tall. He plays for Leipzig. He's left-footed, so we could probably train him to play left-back. He can also play defensive mid. I can't say I'm that familiar with this guy at all. Where does he start? I think he starts at Mainz, I guess. He moved to Leipzig a few years ago. He's not had the best average ratings, though, has he? How much would we have to pay for him? Also, how does he compare to Diallo? Kind of slightly different players. Diallo's a little bit better defensively and with his vision. What's Diallo looking like? He's going to cost us minimum release clause of 31 million. Do you have a release clause? Wow, okay, 19 million. That gives me a little bit of food for thought. He looks pretty good. I mean, we've got a few players that we're scouting right now. 50 million in the bank and 350,000 excess wages. I feel like with that kind of money, I should be spending it, because if we now don't, if we were to say don't, compete for the league, I'm going to look at all that money sat in the bank and think, why the hell did I not spend any of it? Moussa Dembele is transfer listed. Now, we sold him way back when for 63 million. To be fair, he's had some very, very good seasons, and he does look good. But those wages are going to be way too expensive for my liking, I fear. What about transfer listed? I bet you thought all the transfer wheeling and dealing was done, didn't you? Nah, not today. Romagnoli is actually transfer listed by request. He's actually a really, really good player. I say that like it's a surprise. They want 62 million for him, but I'm tempted. Is that bad? His average ratings have been very solid for a number of years for Milan, and obviously he'd have that pre-built understanding with Donnarumma. I'm curious to know what his wages he's going to ask for are, because his wages are very, very steep already, so we'll wait and see on that. Dale Fry's been thrown up as an option. You see, Dale Fry's actually very good in FM usually. I feel like he's underwhelming a little bit there. Lucas Silva, how are you looking? He looks okay. I do like Maximiliano Gomez, but his wages are always going to be a concern. I'm just thinking, Wagnerman is transfer listed by request. That's an interesting one. How much do they want for him? They want 4.6 million. This guy has a lot of potential in FM, and I know I'm not going to play with fullbacks. I'm just wondering if I could sign him to be a backup option and if he'd actually be okay with that. He's transfer listed for 4.6 million, which is really, really low. At that price, I'm kind of happy to take a punt on him. I don't feel like you're ever going to lose money on him. He's 21 going on 22. He's not incredible, but he would solve that little fullback dilemma, at least in terms of giving me just a little bit of peace of mind that if I wanted to change systems, we'd be okay. He wants to be a rotation option. He's got lots of little wage-risey bits that he wants, and I'm not overly happy with them. He really wants to be a rotation option, which I really can't guarantee him by any means. He's 40,000 a week. Where does that lie now? I feel like our overall wage spend has fluctuated quite a lot in recent years. 40,000 is kind of our benchmark, I guess, for a backup player. He says, whilst also looking at the likes of Markovic, Gabels and Maulida, who are in a similar bracket. It's actually crazy how low some of the wages of our players are. And the fact they're still on kind of 4-year contracts, there isn't really a need to offer them new contracts. Is there anyone here who our scouts are recommending super highly who's actually affordable? Fernando Martinez. I mean, he looks pretty good at centre mid. If I wanted to get in another mobile centre mid, maybe he'd be a player to bring in. He's available on loan. See, my only concern with losing Tolisso now is that we are a little light on centre mids in terms of box-to-box midfielders. Or we just up the minimum ability. I mean, I guess you could argue that we're concerned for lack of quality in every area. But I don't know. I feel like you look at the top players here, they're all great. And then Maxi, Gravenberch and Auger have all got away on loans. But they all play kind of more playmakery roles. They're quite creative players. They're not super versatile, you know, with their physicals to get up and down the pitch. It's an interesting one. I guess the argument is you could play Militao there, and if worse came to worse, Shadas or Oliver. But I don't really want to play Shadas or Oliver there. I guess if I get in Wagnerman, maybe just loaning in a centre mid isn't the worst idea in the world. Might as well just see who's available, I guess, in the centre mid department. Shopov of Manchester City. I mean, he looks pretty good. Thing is, this player who I'm going to loan doesn't need to be an exceptional player. They're kind of going to be a in case of emergency centre mid. How's Valverde looking? See, he's pretty good. He could maybe do that role for us. Not really utilised loans much here, but with our current situation, I don't know if I necessarily want to spend, you know, massive transfer money on a player who's going to be 4th choice centre mid. Andrian Bonggiovanni, he looks okay, but he's more of a playmakery type. You know, the box-to-box midfielder is quite a commanding and demanding role. I guess the advantage is that we have Lucas Romero, who can play there. We have Renato Sanchez, who also can play there quite adequately. It's just if either of those two get injured with our current squad, I've got Shadas and Oliver. I would not mind just having a squad depth centre midfielder who's more often than not just going to be sat doing nothing. With that in mind, I like Fernando Martinez a lot. He's got quite good physicals just across the board, which is going to help with him getting up and down the pitch if we needed him to play there. They only want a small amount of his wages being paid. It would be as a backup option. That makes a lot of sense. I need to decide if I want to spend all this money. I mean, we've got Romagnoli here who we're looking at. I'll have to see how much he wants a week wages. I don't want to offer him more than 120,000, I'd say would be kind of the number I have in my mind. I guess the issue is when you want a world-class centre-back, you've kind of got to pay world-class money for them. I realised that today I thought that, you know, the transfer window madness would be slowing down a little bit, and here we are 15 minutes into the episode and we've not got forward a day. So Romagnoli's come in, opening offer, he wants 160. I need to negotiate him down to 120. I'll give him his agent a little bit more money. I don't really want to go more than 130 on him. I'm going to play hardball here. See if we can just repeatedly get it down. Indeed we can, and it's a 5-year contract as well. He's 27, so he's really entering his prime. He might have a problem with injuries. That's the only concern. But you actually look at his injury history. He's not had like a load of really serious injuries. You know, he's played decent minutes every year. He's played over 30 league games. How does he compare to Lenglet? I feel like he's just a better version of Lenglet. The only minor concern I'd have is the fact that he's also left-footed. So would that mean moving Militao to right centre-back? So then maybe play Lenglet at ball-playing defender on cover? I mean, is that much of a concern? I don't necessarily think so. The fact that he will have played with Donnarumma for the last 4 or 5 years obviously offers quite a lot of benefit to the team, I feel like. He is also left-footed, and then it leaves Markovic on the bench, which is a pretty good situation to be in. Is it like a big upgrade on Tolisso? I'd say it's a big upgrade on the, you know, in terms of Tolisso wasn't ever going to play in the team. Kind of reinvesting all of that money into a centre-back, is that the most terrible of ideas? I don't necessarily... I don't know. It's an interesting one, certainly. I mean, the fact that he's wanted by Manchester United and Juventus and Tottenham should give you a pretty good indicator to the fact he is a very, very high-quality player. And I guess the only other thing to really consider is there just a better centre-back out there? Yeah, you know, is there someone who we could realistically pick up who's going to be a better player? Who maybe isn't transfer listed? Am I just going for Romagnoli because he is the obvious choice? I'm going to set the wages to at most 80k. I feel like that's a nice golden number to go for when you're looking... in our current situation where I don't want to massively overpay. Mancini here. I mean, he looks pretty good for Torino. But then if we compare him to Romagnoli, I feel like he's going to look kind of rubbish. I mean, there you go. There's the difference. Romagnoli is like a world-class centre-back. Diallo is there, though. It is tempting, isn't it? It is tempting. It's a Diop. How good are you? Oh, not on the same level as Romagnoli. It would be kind of fair to say. Mamana used to be so good in FM. I mean, he's not a bad player, Mamana, but he's just not quite that quality that we require right now, it feels like. Let's just have a quick look, shall we, at players who will play centre-back. I'm going to include acceleration. I like a centre-back that can accelerate. I feel like I've got high expectations for what I want from my centre-back. Manolas is so good in FM. His physicals are absolutely crazy. He's got really good natural fitness as well, so they're not really going to drop off that much. Ruben Diaz is an option. Thing is, he doesn't really... I mean, I guess Romagnoli doesn't solve the left-back thing, but if I'm not mistaken, he can also semi-play left-back. So, you know, as part of adapting to a back four, he would actually help. Ruben Diaz is very, very good, though. Just the wages could be a concern. The fact that we've managed to get Romagnoli to agree to lower his wages is what's swaying me towards him right now. I feel like we're at this unfortunate point where I don't want to break the bank to bring in a player, but if I don't break the bank, I'm just not going to improve the team. How's Rob Holding looking here? He looks okay, but he's just not on the same level as Romagnoli. Eric Bailey might be available, but the injuries are just the concern there. The more I look at it, the more I feel like Romagnoli is the pick of the bunch. I'm going to be honest. And it's not like we couldn't afford him. He'd be another like premium player to bring in, but he can, you know, play left back slightly. He can play the defensive midfielder position if we need him to fill in there. it would mean that Guille probably gets dropped down to the reserves, and that unfortunately Markovic ends up on the bench again this year. But for the quality of player we're talking about, he's pretty much coming in for the exact money that Tolisso has gone out for. You know, it's kind of one of those not straight swaps, but in terms of what we're losing for what we're gaining, it seems huge. I guess the only cause for concern right now is that another big team come in for Romagnoli. You know, if Tottenham or Manchester United come in, you can be sure that they're going to be offering him over £200,000 a week. And we cannot compete with that kind of money, even if I am willing to do it on 1 or 2 players. I feel like Romagnoli just he ticks a lot of boxes. I hope I'm saying his name correctly. It's now dawned on me that I've never really heard his name said aloud. I mean, it sounds right, doesn't it? It looks like it should be said right. Wagnerman would be a very good little addition as well. Low risk transfer, comes in just to be a bit of backup in the full-back areas. He's young as well. I think he does have a little bit of potential, and well, worst comes to worst, he gets a bit unhappy after a season and we sell him on for a bit more than the £4 million. I'm okay with that. So we're going to pick him up. His squad status that I offered him is rotation. I'm going to have to demote that down to backup. But I do really, really like the look of him. So we'll set his squad status. Where is his squad status? Why am I forgetting this stuff? Is it not there? Am I going blind? That's just it's not there. I guess it's because he's just joined the club. Anyway, we can register him in. He is going to be a backup player. I might have lied to him a little bit to get him to join us. Toussaint, can you welcome him, mate? Thank you very much. I love Toussaint. He's like the one player who I don't think I'd ever replace in our team. Now can I set his squad status? Am I going crazy? Am I taking crazy pills? I can't seem to set it. But that might be just me being me. Am I blind? Quite possibly. Wagnerman. Squad. Why can I not update his squad status? Answers on a postcard if you know the answer, because I don't know the answer. Has anyone offered on Romagnoli yet? It doesn't look like it. It doesn't. He could be ours. He's had 4 days to think about our contract. I hope he's not waiting for Manchester United or Tottenham to come in and give him a contract offer. I would be a little bit upset. I'm not going to lie. Because I do feel like he is the last piece in the puzzle, you know? I feel like he could come in and he could really solve the last bit of our team. I need to have a think. He does look very good, doesn't he? It's my catchphrase. A few people have picked up on the fact I like to say he's very good, isn't he? That's kind of my little... what would you call it? I feel like that's become a catchphrase during the transfer window episodes. PSG offered £65 million for Militao. I've got it set to automatically reject. Bast is unhappy. Toussaint, can you solve this? You can't solve it. Bast, I've had some issues settling in the area, and if there's anything you can do to make it be easier for me, it'd be really helpful. Would a leave of absence help? Mate, you joined the club. You joined the club like a month ago, and you're telling me that you want to leave now. I'll bring you in a friend. I'll bring you in a friend. Oh, what does that promise mean? I feel like that means I need to sign a young German player. I mean, does Wagnerman not count? I've got 14 days to bring him in a friend. Do you have any favourite personnel? Right, German players. Actually, what might be a better bet, and I like to do this occasionally, is I'll look at a player's agent and the players that the agent has on their books. because occasionally they have quite, similar players. He's very good. Do I need another goalkeeper? No. But do I want to sign him? Absolutely. £31 million minimum release clause is going to be a problem. Wow. You're good. 19 years old, plays for Werder Bremen. I dread to think how much he's going to cost. I'm not even going to check. Is there anyone like playing for the German under-19s who's like available very, very cheap? Or in the under-20s? This is the team that Bast plays with. I can't help but feel like for Dortmund's best young players, they're not going to be coming cheap. Okay, maybe we can get this guy for 1.3 million. We can. Is he any good? Till Al-Boutat. I mean, he looks not incredible, but if it keeps Bast happy, okay, he wouldn't get. I mean, he's right. He wouldn't get first team football with us. He's not wrong. Union Berlin have a goalkeeper who looks okay. At this point, I kind of just want to sign any young German player. It's going to be about £1 million for him. Yeah, we can arrange a friendly with you, Union Berlin. Let's do that. Make Weber. That's definitely not how you say his name, but it sounded good in my head. Hopefully that is going to make Bast happy if he joins. Meanwhile, we're still anxiously waiting for Romagnoli to reply to us. I'm hoping that he's going to be nice and he's just going to, go, yeah, you know what, I do want to join you. 82% recommendation level on him. I don't think anyone's going to come close to that who we could realistically sign to play the same positions. Like, he ticks all the boxes. A centre-back who can play left-back. He's transfer listed as well, so we're getting him for way below his market value. The more I look at it, the more I'm thinking, yes, he's the player to buy. Can Marseille do us a favour against PSG? They can't. They came close to doing it. A Pogba last 10-minute penalty, the difference maker. How's Simon Guillet getting on? I mean, he's looking very, very good. Unfortunately for him, he is going to end up in the reserves if the Romagnoli deal happens, but we'll have to see. We will have to see. We've got Nice and then we've got Nantes. I would like to get both these games done today at minimum. And then I promise you, probably after today's episode, we will be we will be getting into the main meat and potatoes of the season. You can expect 3 or 4 matches every episode at that point. Although I know most of you like the long pre-season stuff where it's lots of umming and ahhing, and sometimes it's me rambling away, filling in blanks whilst I panic and worry about players who may or may not be joining us. Di Lorenzo, oh, we did look at you. Looked quite good, but you're more of a fullback than a centre back. Valverde, estimated cost 2.5 million. Interesting that he's that cheap. I'm curious to know what wages he'd ask for. Just because if they're around the £20,000 mark he's on, if it's below 40,000, I might sign him instead of loaning in that other player. Because as much as I mentioned about, I don't really loan players in that often. At 2.5 million, Valverde is just a very, very versatile player who I feel like could do a job for us at box-to-box midfielder because of his physicals. He's going to be right down. I know he's 7th best centre mid. You've got to consider that Aouar is competing for the centre attacking mid position. Toussaint is our defensive midfielder. Havertz is playing out on the wing. Like, realistically, Valverde would be 4th choice centre mid. And at the kind of money we're offering him, he's probably worth doing. And if we could train him to play centre attacking mid, just as a really versatile backup attacking option, he'd be exactly what I'd be looking for. Cheap, bit of experience, good consistency, low expectations in terms of first team football regularity. I feel like he could be that player. And you know what? He might end up being unhappy after 6 months. But in terms of as a short-term solution, he could be it. That would be, of course, instead of signing Federico Martinez here. If we compare the two of them, you can kind of see the difference. Maybe Martinez is the better option. But I'd rather have a semi more permanent option than loaning in a player. Romagnoli we can't afford. I could swear that we were going to be able to afford it with some budget adjustments. Is that because of the offer I've put in for Valverde and Federico Martinez? I'm going to have to drop the Valverde offer, aren't I? If I drop that offer, does that give me the money? I swear I had enough money for this. Someone get our accountants out. Oh, have I massively miscalculated here? I could swear we had the money for that. Oh, it's a situation. It is a situation. Oh, maybe I can't afford Romagnoli after all of this. All my transfer calculations are coming undone. Also, Federico Martinez has picked up an injury. Okay, it's a minor one. I was thinking, I've cancelled the Valverde offer to try and get the other offer over the line, and now this has happened. Excuse me. Right. What do I do now? Is there anyone I can sell for a little bit of money? Kenny, I need you to go, mate. Can you have a word with the teams that are interested in you? Are there any other of our players wanted by anyone? Edison Nino is wanted by Milan on loan. The thing is, at the monthly paying fee, they wouldn't start paying until he's already there. So, like, that wouldn't even help us. Oh, I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. I was convinced that we can make that deal work. Oh, I don't even know if I can free up the money for it now. What have I done? Usually I feel like I'm pretty good at keeping track of things. I guess I thought that the excess wage budget would contribute more to our transfer budget than it actually has. Which I guess is entirely my own fault. I mean, is there anyone we could bring in instead who's going to solve the centre-back problem? I mean, I say centre-back problem. Is it really a problem? I feel like it was more a luxury signing than anything. I just feel bad now because the first half an hour of this episode I've been sat there thinking, you know, every player we've looked at, are they as good as Romagnoli? And now it turns out that he might not be as realistic as I wanted to believe. I mean, could we sign Rugani instead? Probably not. Just because of the wage demands. Oh, I'm actually a clown. I mean, I'm sure some of you were sat there screaming at your monitors going, Jack, you're not going to be able to afford this. What are you doing? I mean, could we bring in Jesus Vallejo, I think is how you'd say his name. Could we bring him in to be the covering defender? He is actually a very good ball-playing coverer. Not very good in the air or defensively. But he could slot in quite nicely as part of our defensive setup. How does he compare to Markovic? Oh, I don't know. I feel like I had it all figured out in my head. And now I can't make it work. And it's a little bit of a situation, I'm not going to lie. I guess the argument becomes, do we need a centre-back? Can we just discuss how good Gedson Fernandez is there? Jesus. Tierney could be an option, although he's on way too much money at Spurs. I can't realistically sign him. Oh, I felt so happy. I felt so content with the universe. I had it all figured out. Content with the universe. What am I talking about? It's getting quite spiritual today. I mean, Alderweireld might be available for very, very cheap. But he's not exactly what I was looking for. Oh, I hate everything. I mean, can I ask the board for more money? Mr. Board? Increase the wage budget? I can't stress how important I believe this to be. We're going to get left behind by our rivals. Oh, I really wanted to say I might not be able to continue on with my job, but that would be a little bit unnecessarily risky. I mean, the good news is that Weber is joining us for £1.1 million, so I'm hoping that is going to please our man. We have had an offer here for Nino from Bayer, which is £150,000 a month, monthly fee, and his wages covered, which I guess is okay. I'm hoping that that is going to count as fulfilling the promise for Bast. I mean, I hope that counts as bringing in a friend. I don't actually know what kind of counts as bringing in a friend. Young German player who plays in the youth national team setup. I'd consider that the tick box ticked. Maybe Football Manager would not. I would love to sign Romagnoli, but the more I think about it, the more I'm kind of like, it wouldn't be a disaster if we couldn't get him. As you can see, our players are not fit. 3 of them all failing fitness tests. There was a lot of red on that screen there. We go into this game now against Nice. A little bit depleted, it would be fair to say. And because of how depleted we are, Wagnerman is actually going to get a chance to sit on the bench. Even though we don't play with fullbacks. Maybe we will rely on him at some point. Anyway, this is the team to start the game. We need a better performance here. We need, after the defeat against PSG last time out, I'm looking for a better display here. Let's see if we can get it. I mean, if we don't sign Romagnoli, we still have a crazy amount of money left to spend on something else, or we just sit on it with all the excess wage budget as well. It was £130,000 a week he was going to be paid. Maybe I just go out there and sign a load of regens. Maybe next episode we just go through all the national teams, looking at all the best, players who are 21 or younger. I'd be curious to know if that's something people would actually want to watch. I feel like most of the time our early kind of pre-season transfer episodes, it's 1 or 2 hours long. And the deals are done by the start of the year. The way this has gone, we could be here until, well, January, still trying to sign players every single episode. It's been a bit of a mad one. I would never normally sell £350 million worth of players, but as we've alluded to, only 3 of those players are regular first-team players. I do feel like we've replaced them as well, either by promoting from within or bringing in new players like Vargas and Havertz. Anyway, Dubois crosses in the ball here. Is that a penalty? Oh, Vargas, what are you doing? What are you doing, my friend? They've done nothing all game, and now they have a chance from the penalty spot. Donnarumma, £50 million goalkeeper. Can he stop El Neni? Oh, he went the right way. I thought he was about to do it. I believed. Nice, with their first shot of the game after half an hour, finally, well, I say finally, they get their noses ahead in a game that I don't feel like you could say they deserve to win, in truth, because, well, they definitely don't deserve to win this, do they? We've been miles on top, although we have another set piece to deal with here. Headed clear. Could we launch a counter-attack? Willem Gabels down the right-hand side, using his pace, stretching his legs. Is there anyone in the box? Vargas is arriving late. He makes amends for the penalty he gave away. That is a superb little finish by Matias there. 2 goals in 2 games for him. I'm beginning to feel a little bit optimistic about things. Nice finish, actually, at that far post. That could have been a tricky one on the volley. We move up to 12th with it, but we need to, ruthlessly continue now. We want to, continue as we've done in this first half, but if anything, just a little bit more in the way of performance. Let's see what we can do. One of the beauties, behind the curtains here, one of the beautiful things about Lyon Live is it's obviously, I never re-record anything. It's all 100% live, there's no outtakes. Sometimes you have episodes where everything just flows. Today I'm recording this on a Sunday morning. My brain is struggling to construct sentences, but I've committed to the episode now, with 40 minutes gone. But I do apologise. Well, I say this, I'm sure you guys don't care that much, but I feel like it needs to be said and acknowledged. I am struggling for words today. I'm sleep deprived, apparently. As is my defence looking at the state of things. Please wake up, Donnarumma. I'm expecting him to score for the amount of money we've paid for him. I'm hoping he's going to make match-winning saves for us. That's the hope, isn't it? Toussaint and Sanchez having their own little game. With 20 minutes left, I should probably look to make some subs. The ball to Havertz there, a tiny bit ambitious, and it could leave us a little light at the back here. As Insua brings the ball forward, inside to Radonjic. Now with Insua, who crosses it in, and they score. Panic. Panic. Right, I've got to change things here. Maulida's had an awful game. I don't have a striker to bring on. I'm going to bring in Havertz, and then I'm going to bring in Sunday out on the right. I'm going to bring in Shadas for Awar, who's been poor. And with our last change, I'm going to bring in Lucas Romero for Renato Sanchez in the centre. I'm wondering if this is a pointless highlight or if something's about to happen. Kai Havertz, could we respond immediately? I want to believe. Toussaint to Sanchez. Options out on the left. Vargas is there. What can you do? Crosses in. Gabel's headers it just wide of the post. That was a golden opportunity. Such a great chance there. 10 minutes left. We're 2-1 down. Shadas, what can you do? On off the bench. Set piece specialist. Whips it in. Havertz is there. Is this offside? He's going to VAR. Don't celebrate it yet. Oh, it is offside. It is offside. I mean, that looks plumb in line. Football Manager, you're drunk. It's a disgrace. I'm getting deja vu. I am getting deja vu. We start the season with 2 defeats in 3. And I don't quite know how that's happened. Is it a gelling period? Oh, I don't know. I do not know. Suddenly the next game for us seems absolutely huge already. Vargas is now competent at playing out on the right, which is good news. That offside goal is heartbreaking to have called off. It's all gone wrong today, guys. It's one of those days. It all started at the end of the last episode and it's continued into today so far. I really need Moise Keane back and just more attacking options. I felt very limited in what I could do there. Obviously, we were also without Ndombele, who was suspended, which definitely doesn't help us. When's Moise Keane back? Up to 2 months. It hurts to read. Taylor and Freitas, how are you looking? Neither of them's going to be back. Neither of them is going to be back in time. Can I do a team meeting now? No. I would love to do one saying, boys, remember what happened last year? Let's not have that happen again this year. Did I promise Jorgelin that he could be sold? I guess that I did. I mean, we've had an asking price of £1 million on him for Lord knows how long, but no one is interested in him. I wish in Football Manager players would realise sometimes they're just not wanted by their players. People don't want them. At least Duran's keeping clean sheets for Milan. It's a silver lining. Someone did actually mention that last episode that a few of my players I've got out on loan, I've not got scout reports coming in for. Thank you for pointing that out to me. I'm going to quickly go through now and do this for all the players. Stuart Webber, you are going to be a busy man, I'm afraid. But I need updates. I need to know what my players out on loan are doing. Even if it is going to flood my inbox a little bit, because we do have quite a lot of players out on loan. I wish there was an easy way for me just to get scout reports and match reports on all the players at once instead of me having to go through manually and hunt out the ones I really care about to find out how they're doing. It is a little bit mad just how many players we have out on loan and how many players we've ended up selling this year. Obviously not that many key first team players. Most of the players we've let go were ultimately players sat in the reserves who I'd brought in with the mindset of, hey, I want to try and make some money off them. I don't really know what to put this start of season. I don't want to call it a slump yet because we've lost against PSG and then away from home occasionally you are going to lose, but it kind of does feel like a slow start again for us. Transfer deadline days in a week. I can't afford Romagnoli. I don't think we're going to be able to afford him. No matter what way I try and fudge the numbers, it's just never going to equal what we need it to. Lots of our players getting called out on international duty, which is good news. Okafor, we should get match reports on you as well. Were you loaned out last year? I guess he was. I feel like there's more players here who I've not got match reports on. Did I miss players, or were they technically loaned out last year? So as a result, we can't see them. I think that's what it might come down to. Although I'm not sure. It's difficult to filter through these. I wonder if I want to just go to my reserves and see if there's any players who I recognise as players who are out on loan. Because I feel like I renewed the loans of some players and as a result they're not showing up. I think De Jong is one that I don't remember ticking the box for. Indeed, I didn't. Maybe I just missed him. Part J, Juan. Get updates on you. There's so many players out on loan. Despite us trimming down our team immensely, the amount of players we've got out on loan with significant potential is kind of mind-boggling. Good mind-boggling, though. Nantes are down in 18th. We have to beat them. I would love a confidence-building performance here. That would be nice. We've also got the Champions League group stage draw. I don't know why that fills me with dread. The Champions League draw. I guess I'm just scared of getting a group of death. What pot are we in? We're in pot 2, so we're going to be a second seed in a group. Who's in our group? Salzburg, Kiev, Liverpool. That's not a kind group, because Salzburg do have some pretty good players, and Dynamo Kiev on their day can be pretty tricky. I always get interested by Salzburg because I feel like they have very, very good players that kind of are significantly underrated. You could argue perhaps they're a little overrated in FM, some of their players, although it's difficult for me to judge. I don't have that much familiarity. This guy is very, very good. I know his name. I'm not going to try and say his name. We'll just call him Dom. He's the kind of player who would be a good little box-to-box midfielder option for us if he was willing to be a super backup. I do, however, feel like he probably wouldn't be willing to have that in his team. Also, we've been drawn against Liverpool. Liverpool have been a recurring theme during our time here at Lyon. I think this is the 3rd or 4th time we're going to meet them in continental competition. In our first 5 years, there's nicer teams who I would like to get repeatedly drawn against. I'm going to level with you. A few of our matches being rearranged because of the European games that have now been drawn in. How close are we to having a full strength 11? Havertz, how are you getting on? He has actually now learned to play on the left, so I'm going to play him on the left and Vargas on the right. David Diaz, did you pass your fitness test? No, you did not. Freitas did not pass a fitness test. It's not ideal, is it? Let's put it that way. Ndombele's been poor to start the year, although he didn't play in that most recent game. My lead has been so poor that actually I'm going to play Havertz at complete forward and I'm going to give Sunday a start out on the right and see how that fares for us. We absolutely have to win this game. We were unlucky against Nice, yes, against PSG. I mean, it was a game against PSG. I'm not going to lose sleep over it. But this kind of game here, we need to be hammering them 3 or 4-0 for me to feel truly happy. There's always going to be a little bit of a gelling period, although when you actually look at first team additions, have we added that many first team players? I've got this horrible feeling that Tolisso in this episode I've referred to as Toussaint throughout. If I did do that, then I apologise again. Ndombele, what can you do? I think the players owe us an apology, really. Gabels, I don't know why he's not hit it there. He's laid it off to Sunday. That felt like a great opportunity for him to pull the trigger. Maybe a lack of confidence. Havertz goes to the header, falls to Toussaint, who can hit them. Ndombele, have a go. Hits the post to Sunday. What can he do? The answer is not a lot. Havertz, though, with a cross in, whips it in. Toussaint, free header, gets the rebound off the crossbar. An air of fortune about that, but we'll take it. I am keen to keep a close eye on the likes of Vargas, Sunday and Havertz, because although relative to, say, Coman, who we've sold, they have all come in, cheaper. I guess Havertz hasn't, but, Sunday, who was the replacement, has come in for cheaper. We did still pay over £40 million for him, and I say that, and then he whips in a ball like that for Gabels to head in. It's like he heard me. But yeah, players like Sunday, I know it's easy to throw a player, I guess, a bone and say, well, he's only 18, he's only 19, he's going to improve. We've paid £40 million for a 19-year-old. Whatever way you look at it, you expect him to perform to a degree. And, we are going to be expectant. But the good news is here, we've been all over them, and actually we're finishing out chances in this game. We've had 81% of the ball after 16 minutes, and we're 2 goals ahead. I really couldn't ask for a better response. Although we do need to defend here. The ball crossed in. Donnarumma collects, no nonsense. Even when it's Donnarumma in goal, my heart rate rises a little bit when the ball goes into the box, anticipating the goalkeeper just to have an absolute howler. Ndombele brings the ball forward. Now with Kai Havertz playing the complete forward role today. Just due to Maulida's lack of form in the striker situation. Vargas marauds forward. Gabels is there. This is what we needed last time. I said I wouldn't be happy unless we won 3 or 4-0. It's 3-0 after 17 minutes. I couldn't really ask for a better start to the game. Really, really nice play here. Vargas down this left-hand side. Just hits the accelerator, dinks it in. Gabels beats his man at the near post. I want to believe that this year Gabels is going to be a man who can grab, 30 goals in all competitions. That's what I expect from him at this point. We rejected a £90 million bid from Real Madrid last episode. I'm expecting huge, huge performances all year. Havertz comes forward. Aouar now gets it. He brings it forward. He hits it. Where was this last game? Was Nice just a one-off blip? Who are we? What is our team identity right now? I don't even know. Aouar grabs the goal. It's his second of the season. Havertz ran forward, was dispossessed. It fell to Aouar. You thought, is he going to thread through one of his trademark passes? No. He went alone, slotted it into the bottom corner. That is 4 goals scored for us in a 10-minute period. We want more, though. Sunday crosses it in. Who's there? Havertz is there. Oh my God. What's happening? It's 5-0 after 30 minutes. I don't even know. We've not even had that many clear-cut or half chances. We've just taken everything that's come our way. It's Havertz's first goal of the season. The 3 players we've signed for the first team, Havertz, Sunday and Vargas, so far have been 3 of our best players all year. Maybe it's a bit premature with Sunday, but he's looked pretty involved in the game so far today. It's 2 minutes since our last chance, and there's another one starting. Sunday to Aouar. Inside to Ndombele. Now with Havertz. Could thread through Vargas. He will do. It's 6-0 after 32. I'm annoyed. Am I allowed to be annoyed? It's a 3rd goal of the season. Havertz with the assist. We're running rampant. They are bottom of the league. We should be beating them convincingly, but still. I'm annoyed. I'm actually annoyed. I shouldn't be. More like this throughout the season, please, boys. More performances of this calibre, where we just relentlessly go forward. We have such a crazy midfield and attack. We should be scoring, I was about to say 7 goals in a half. Maybe not, but we should be scoring free-flowingly and just all the time. Losing a game like the one we lost against Nice is pretty inexcusable. You know, maybe it's growing pains. Maybe it's the team just gelling, you know, getting used to one another. Where is Sunday going here? What a run that is. Give it back to him. Ndombele. I mean, if that dips in, I'm just walking out my room and letting the game play itself for the last 10 minutes of the episode. Havertz whips it in. Markovic is there. Hits the outside of the post. We've hit the woodwork 3 times in this match as well. I mean, great first half. Annoyed it couldn't be like this last game. We've had 33 shots in a half. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. Aouar, wide free kick, crosses it in, headed away. Only as far as Aouar again. He could pull the trigger here. He does. Keeper makes a vital stop to get it over the crossbar. Havertz to whip it in from this right-hand side. What can he do? Puts it perfectly on Aouar's head. Unfortunately, Goethe again is Gertner? Gertner, Jack. I can't say his name. He doesn't make stops, so I don't need to worry about him. But he has made another save. Sunday to Havertz. What can we do here, folks? Toussaint, Ndombele, Havertz, Vargas. Little ambitious. Would like to see us work the ball into the box a little more. Could potentially do some subs here, and I'm going to do them. I know Vargas isn't going to be happy to come off, but let's give a few of the other players a bit of a chance, shall we? I'm going to bring in Lucas Romero as well for Toussaint. Is there anyone else who I want to bring in? I kind of want to bring in Maulida, but I don't really want to take off Havertz. What do I want to do? You know what? I'm going to take off Ndombele. I'm going to play Shadas out of kind of role. He's going to play that box-to-box midfielder role that he's really not made to do. But I don't think defensively we're going to be asking a great deal of him. And it would be nice if the players we've just brought on could contribute to a goal or two just to help build up a little bit of confidence. Bit disappointed that in the second half we've not seen a single goal, although it's not an uncommon sight in FM as Goebbels is gifted. I mean, it's the easiest hat-trick goal he's ever going to be given. We press high, Nantes make an absolute mare of it. I mean, I have to be happy with this performance, but you've got to wonder, haven't you? You've got to wonder what happened against Nice now. Pressing high, forcing an error out of them. 4 players smothering their back line. And yeah, Goebbels is not going to get an easier chance than that to secure his hat-trick. Just tucks it away. Look at their average rating. I feel bad for them. Trincão's now picked up an injury. I don't have a sub left, so he's just going to have to be we're going to be without a player. Shadas, can you get a goal? Of course he can. He's the free kick specialist. It's 8-0. Not what I would have predicted going into this game. I said 3 or 4 would be good. We've done a little better than that. Lovely free kick as well, by the way. Bends it round the wall. We're running out of room to display goal scorers. It's been that kind of game. I do really wonder what happened to this team against Nice. Just no one showed up against Nice, and in this game it's like everyone shows up. It's like a well-oiled machine just getting into gear. When we're on song, we're on song. 8-0. I mean, what is there to say about that other than that helps our goal difference quite a lot. We now have a +7 goal difference despite winning 2 and losing 2. Trincão's out for 3 to 4 weeks. This pun is offending me. Let's move on. Havertz can play left mid, which is good news. And Goebbels picks up man of the match. I need you to get 30 goals this season, Willem, but I do believe you are the player to do that for us. I mean, it just looks a bit annoying when you look at the previous games to win that one at 8-0. In terms of upcoming games, I've just remembered. This is the Winter World Cup season. So the Champions League has a very, very weird schedule. We're actually going to play Dynamo Kiev twice to start things off. We need to win both of those. If we win both of those and Liverpool win both their games against Salzburg, we'll be in a really good position where beating Salzburg in our 3rd game could see us be very, very good. You can see here, we only have 1 game in November and then a couple at the end of December. God bless Qatar. I don't know what we're going to do in this period here. Hadn't thought about that, because that's not going to be a transfer window or anything. I guess we'll just follow along with the World Cup for an episode. Does also mean the season ends a little bit later, which could be interesting. We've got Monaco not that far away, and then, I mean, looking at our end of season run, we're going to play Monaco and PSG pretty early on, but then this last end to the season, the last 14 matches, you'd look at those and say they should all be very, very winnable. But that Winter World Cup could throw up a spanner into the works. We'll have to see how things go there. I do also think it makes the first knockout round of the Champions League, if I'm not mistaken, just a single-legged game. Interesting. I must admit, I've not had too much experience with the Winter World Cup, but it's going to be something that we maybe have to look at. I can't sign Romagnoli either. I've got to accept that he's not going to be coming in, which is fine. It's going to leave us with a lot of money to spend, but yeah, I don't know what to do. What do we think, folks? Maybe go crazy and sign a load of regens? It could be the way to approach things. You can let me know what you would do down below. Good result against Nantes. I will hope that we can show more of that, I guess, going forward. I was a little bit concerned of the amount of, well, the lack of green in the players' average ratings. One good performance for them has seen it all rocket up. Hopefully we will continue to see it as good as it is right now going into next episode, where, as I said, we're going to have some potentially huge matches on the horizon where we really need to be on song. But anyway, guys, that is going to be everything from me today. I do hope you've enjoyed as always. If you have, drop a like on the video. I'll see you guys again soon. It is me, Jack, and I'll talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.